Today is officially America Recycles Day, but the reality is that America doesn't recycle all that much, reusing only around a third of all the trash it creates. This has prompted the EPA to announce a national recycling strategy. Here in Chicago, most independent reviews have found that the city's blue bin efforts have fallen well short. And joining us now are two scientists from Argonne National Laboratory at the forefront of research on recycling. They are Max DELFERRO. He's a chemist and a leader of the Catalysis Science Program at Argonne that aims to develop upcycling to turn plastic waste into more useful commodities. And Jeff SPANGENBERGER, who is leading Argonne's efforts to develop environmentally sustainable and cost-effective ways of recycling lithium-ion batteries. And those power everything from electric vehicles to cell phones and laptops. So welcome both of you to Chicago tonight. I'll start with you, Massimiliano. We all know what recycling is, but when it comes to plastic, explain what upcycling means.
Yeah. Hey, Paul. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, really upcycling is really the next step that we need to take to really, if we really want to do an efficient recycling of plastics. So far, we only recycle two of the plastics that are on the market, the PET, the plastic bottle, and the milk jug of the HDPE of the milk jug. And what we want to do from a scientific point of view is really give a second life to all the plastics, and we want to upcycle the plastic. Means that the value, economical value of the product that we are going to make from our waste plastic is going to be more valuable than the plastic itself.
How do you do that? How do you give an economic incentive to recycle something like a plastic bottle or any other plastic product to make it actually more valuable?
Yeah, there are, the first big step is really the mechanical recycle. We need to be able to separate all the different kinds of plastics and have them in a single feed. And then when we have a single feed, for example, polypropylene, pure polyethylene, we have, and we are developing at Argonne and also all over the country, particularly in the US, new technology and new processes to transform, for example, a plastic bottle in a shampoo or a plastic bottle in a motor oil that you can use in your car.
Very interesting. And Jeff SPANGENBERGER, let's bring you in here. So you're studying ways to recycle lithium-ion batteries, which is really important now because of the fact that they're used in cell phones and electric vehicles. First of all, tell us the demand right now for lithium-ion batteries.
Well, the demand has been pretty constant for consumer electronic battery uses, cell phones and laptops. But they're really going to start to skyrocket pretty soon for electric vehicles. They just came out about 10 years ago, lithium-ion battery technology in our electric vehicles. And they're in about, I would say, at end of life right now. They're going to reach end of life in the next 3 or 4 years, we'll say. So from this point on, we're going to skyrocket to about 7 to 10 times that is estimated in the next 10, 15, 20 years.
And so how difficult is it to recycle lithium-ion batteries then? And how important is it to do that given what you're mentioning here?
Well, those are two great questions. It's definitely important to recycle. We need to recover the materials that we get because we really do dig into these materials in the world in order to make these predicted amounts of batteries. But fortunately, we can recycle them now, and there's really good ways to recycle them. What we're working at Argonne and around the National Lab System is to try and improve the battery recycling capabilities to improve anywhere we can, mainly the economics, in order to help really drive this so that people want to recycle the batteries.
All right, Massimiliano, I'll come back to you here. There's a recent report from a group called Beyond Plastics that estimates the plastics industry will surpass coal as a source of greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. So it's not just bad for landfills and the environment that way, but the production of plastics is also bad in terms of fossil fuel emission. So what does that portend for plastic use going forward?
Yeah, as I was mentioning before, the plastic accumulation problem is really three problems. It's a behavioral problem. We need to educate the population of how to do an efficient recycling at home. So far, we have only one blue bin where we put everything inside. It's an economical problem, as Jeff was pointed out, for a battery, but also is a problem also for plastics, because the cost of plastics right now is almost zero. It's so cheap to make plastic that there is no any incentive to do plastic recycling. And the third problem is a scientific problem that we spent 9,500 years to make new plastics they are very light, are very performing materials, but only few in the past 5 years we really start to look at how we can transform these plastics to give this plastic a second life or give them a second economical value.
And Jeff Spangenberger, in terms of electric vehicles and lithium-ion batteries, it sounds environmentally friendly, but as I understand, mining for lithium is really rough on the environment. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say really rough on the environment. I'd say that there are definitely environmental impacts associated with that. But you really need to look at the big picture. There's, I say LCA very easily, but it's life cycle analysis. And so there are impacts to manufacturing a battery, and they are greater than the impacts associated with manufacturing an internal combustion engine. But you have to look at the entire life cycle of a product. And so through the life cycle of an EV, the use phase emits a lot less emissions. And then there's the recycling portion of it. So you have to really look at the entire life cycle of a product.
So certainly a win environmentally when put into context like that. And Jeff, how do you make it affordable or economically efficient to recycle lithium-ion batteries to help solve this problem?
Yeah, boy, I wish I could go into details. We get really excited about the work we do at Argonne. But to keep it simple, the idea is to increase the revenue products from what you're recycling and reduce the costs to process that material. And that's what we're really doing with some really cool technologies.
Massimiliano, we mentioned that in Chicago, the blue bin recycling hasn't really worked very well. No recycling effort has really worked well here in Chicago. How do residents need to start changing their behavior to find a system here that works?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of opportunities. One solution is not a single solution. We really need multiple options. One of that could be really try to educate the population of separate the metal from glass, from paper, from plastics, have multiple bins, for example, because that is going to also to help the waste collector to really separate this waste in a more efficient way. And also we really need to invest in our material recycling facilities, for example, using artificial intelligence or robotic system to increase the efficiency of separations.
All right, well, a lot of important research that you're doing over there at Argonne, and we thank you for sharing some of that with us. Our thanks to Max DELFERRO and Jeff Spangenberger. Thanks so much.
Thank you.